Well, the biggest news story in the world right now, in case you have been living under a rock and haven't been online, is the unsealed Jeffrey Epstein documents, which were released last night by a New York judge. Over 900 pages of court documents in a civil lawsuit filed by Epstein accuser Virginia Giuffre against Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's former girlfriend, who's currently serving a 20-year prison sentence for crimes related to child sex trafficking, were finally released to the public after years of being kept private. Extremely high-profile individuals have been named in these documents, two of the most prominent being former US President Bill Clinton and the Duke of York, Prince Andrew, which shouldn't come as any surprise. Clinton has not been accused of any wrongdoing in the latest document dump. However, the allegations against Andrew, which were previously known to the public, were recounted in these documents, including an allegation which Buckingham Palace rejected as categorically untrue, in which a separate accuser alleges that Andrew groped her when she was 21. Perhaps most interesting of all in the latest Epstein documents is what we don't know. Two names have remained temporarily redacted. According to CBS News, two unnamed people have appealed the release of their names. One person, a female, has been given until January 22nd for her appeal. The other unnamed person is awaiting a review of their appeal. We're going to go through the names that have been released, the timeline of this story which has captured the world's attention over the past 10 years, and what we should be looking out for in the coming days. But first, drop a like in the video, help us out by subscribing to the True North YouTube channel, and the comment question for the episode is this: will we ever get to the bottom of the Jeffrey Epstein story? Let me know in the comments, and let's get into it. The latest Epstein documents reveal the names of 170 of Epstein's associates, high-profile politicians, royalty, actors, musicians, businessmen, scientists, so many important people in the orbit of Jeffrey Epstein. Now, in the case of Prince Andrew, all of the allegations in the latest document dump were already known to the public. But in the case of Bill Clinton, well, let's just say he's got some problems to deal with now. Because according to another Epstein victim, Joanna Schoberg, in her sworn 2016 testimony, Epstein once told her that Bill Clinton likes them young, referring to girls, that is, in the document. As you will already know, Bill Clinton's name appeared several times on Jeffrey Epstein's flight logs. Clinton's name, to be specific, is referenced 73 times in the documents, but to be clear, Clinton is not accused of any illegal activity in this latest document. Just, of course, that Bill Clinton apparently likes young girls. Also mentioned in the Epstein files, Donald Trump. Now, unlike Bill Clinton, Donald Trump was never said to have liked young girls in the document. However, Joanna Schoberg did say that Jeffrey Epstein once called up Donald Trump to divert his private jet to Donald Trump's casino in Atlantic City. Epstein's lawyer, Alan Dershowitz, was also mentioned several times in the Epstein files. Virginia Giuffre alleged that Jeffrey Epstein forced her to have sex with Alan Dershowitz when she was a minor. The alleged incidents took place, quote, not only in Florida, but on private planes in New York, New Mexico, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. Dershowitz has denied all allegations, and as early as this week, he has defended the associates of Jeffrey Epstein. Furthermore, Dershowitz has also been calling publicly for the release of these documents for the public to see. Stephen Hawking was also named in the documents. According to the New York Post's reporting on the files, an email between Epstein and Maxwell states Epstein offered a reward to Giuffre's friends, acquaintances, and even family members in order to help prove that her allegations that Stephen Hawking participated in an orgy were false. Bill Clinton's vice president, Al Gore, was also named in the documents, but is not accused of any wrongdoing. Les Wexner, the American billionaire and founder of Victoria's Secret, also named on the Epstein lists, but not accused of any wrongdoing. Bill Richardson, the late New Mexico governor who died in September, also on the Epstein list. Jean-Luc Brunel, the French modeling scout, is also named on the list. Giuffre alleged that Maxwell ordered Giuffre to have sex with the French modeling scout. Brunel died in a French prison in 2020 by suicide, while he was awaiting charges on raping underage girls. Also on the list of Epstein associates, Michael Jackson, who was seen at Epstein's Palm Beach house. Magician David Copperfield, according to one of Epstein's victims, was seen performing card tricks at one of Epstein's dinners. Billionaire Tom Pritzker of the Hyatt Hotel Group was also on the Epstein list. Pritzker denies the allegation that he had sex with one of Epstein's victims. Hedge fund billionaire Glenn Dubin, also on the list, denies the allegations. Former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak was also named on the Epstein list, although one of Epstein's victims, Joanna Sjoberg, denies ever meeting him. The list of Epstein's associates also include a number of A-list movie stars, including Leonardo DiCaprio, Cate Blanchett, Bruce Willis, and Kevin Spacey. Most of the names on the list are either not accused of any wrongdoing or they deny all the allegations against them. But the question needs to be asked. Why did this prolific predator, this prolific pedophile, have such an influential group of associates? Why did so many people of such high public stature want to be seen around this individual? And more importantly, why did it take so long for the list of names to be released to the public? One of the unnamed associates of Jeffrey Epstein is only known in the documents as, quote, a well-known prime minister. According to The Telegraph, Epstein trafficked victims for sexual purposes to powerful men, including a, quote, well-known prime minister and other world leaders in the 2014 filing. Epstein trafficked the victim, named as Jane Doe No. 3, to men, quote, including numerous prominent American politicians, powerful business executives, foreign presidents, a well-known prime minister, and other world leaders. The billionaire would allegedly ask her to describe the events that she had with these men so that he could potentially blackmail them. The public has a right to know who these people are, especially the politicians and world leaders, because the victims of Jeffrey Epstein deserve to have their abusers face justice. Now, just because this first document dump of Epstein files doesn't necessarily reveal new information or information that the public wasn't already aware of, the public's demand for more information about this story will never go away. Everyone involved in Epstein and Maxwell's trafficking ring must be exposed, and the public won't stop talking about the story until it happens. All of this also raises serious questions about why so many of Epstein's associates, high-profile associates, have now died, including, of course, Epstein himself, who mysteriously died allegedly by suicide while he was in one of the most secure buildings in New York, probably one of the most secure buildings in all of the world. So let's just do a quick summary of Jeffrey Epstein and how we got to where we are right now. This timeline of Epstein is from News Nation. In 2008, Epstein pleaded guilty to 1 count of soliciting prostitution and 1 count of soliciting prostitution from a minor. He was sentenced to 18 months in jail, a year of community service, and is registered as a sex offender. Epstein was given a sweetheart deal which allowed him to go to work in the day and serve the rest of his sentence at night. In July 2019, Epstein was arrested on federal sex trafficking charges after federal prosecutors in New York concluded that they weren't bound by the earlier plea deal. And then, just days after Epstein's arrest in New York, he was found dead in his cell. And the next year, in July of 2020, federal prosecutors in New York charged Ghislaine Maxwell with sex crimes. And in December of 2021, Maxwell was convicted on sex trafficking charges. So what should we be looking out for in the coming days? Well, of course, more Epstein lists. More of the 170 associates are to be named, including perhaps those that have remained unnamed, like that, quote, well-known prime minister who we don't know. According to reports, the unsealed documents will be released on a rolling basis, with some coming after January 22nd. All right, Ratio of the Week time. The first Ratio of the Week award of 2024. We're giving it to the Associated Press. You'll see why. Several Canadian news outlets published the Associated Press story about Claudine Gay, the former Harvard president's resignation earlier this week. The Associated Press article, which featured in CTV News, ran with the headline, Harvard president's resignation highlights new conservative weapon against colleges, plagiarism. So apparently, plagiarism, or maybe calling out plagiarists, is now a conservative weapon. Well, for those that don't know, Claudine Gay was found out to be a serial plagiarist, including plagiarizing her PhD thesis. Now, this tweet from the Associated Press has over 14,000 comments to only 6,800 likes. Community notes, of course, were slapped to this tweet, calling out the obvious BS coming from the Associated Press here. Now, the comments, of course, are incredible. The first we're going to highlight comes from Elon Musk. And, once again, community notes for the win. Gay repeatedly violated Harvard's rules against plagiarism. Source, Harvard. Jonathan K. over at Quillette wrote this. "Oh no, those dastardly conservatives have infiltrated your organization." And then he highlights AP's own rules on their own journalists, that an AP writer must not plagiarize their work. And this is from Tim Young. Plagiarism is now a conservative weapon. Just a reminder that Facebook Meta uses this fake news organization to fact-check people. Isn't that interesting? The AP, a news site, is used as a fact-checking source when they write stories like this. Not really that much of a surprise, but a good way to kick us off for the ratio of the week for 2024. All right, everyone, that's going to do it for us this week on the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Harrison Faulkner, and this is Ratio.